Okay. And welcome to the brand new year. Our first episode. It is the morning catch up with ASSITEJ South Africa. And welcome, one and all. It is the season two, and we're so excited. I hope you are ready for this exciting and captivating conversation. And as you know, we get all of the prolific or actors and artists and practitioners who are working with and for children. In today's episode, our first episode of the year, we have Faye Kabali Kagwe, who is just absolutely exceptional in the work that she does. She's a practitioner, director, a fellow award winner, and also the curator for Cradle of Creativity 2026. Hello, Faye. Good morning.
Hi, Cornelia. Thank you so much for having me on the morning catch up.
Thank you. Thank you. Firstly, how are you? Firstly, happy New Year. How are you this year? How has life been? Month of January. How's the new year treating you?
Well, thank you. Happy New Year to you too. I started off this year traveling. It's been really exciting,
Hmm?
really full. I was in New York for the International
Oh.
Society for Performing Arts Congress. Yep.
Hmm?
And then I was in Germany and yeah,
Wow.
and then at the end of the month, I came back to Cape Town and I'm happy to be in my home and working with
Wow.
my colleagues in the office.
Amazing, Miss Traveler everywhere. Wow. I mean, take us with you next time. Faye, we really admire the work that you do, and also the immense productions that you've done. I think most of our audiences have followed your work and are still following your work. And now we have, just to get into the show, we have the Cradle of Creativity coming up, and ASSITEJ South Africa recently posted about this, and there's been numbers and numbers of questions, and so we really want to get into that as a curator. Firstly, what does it mean to be a curator of the Cradle of Creativity? What is the Cradle of Creativity?
Well, the Cradle of Creativity is ASSITEJ South Africa's international theatre festival for children and young audiences. What has always been at like the root and the center of the festival has been intercultural collaboration. It's also been highlighting our members and people making theatre for young people and children from around the country, around the continent, and across the globe. And yeah, sometimes people are like, what does children and youth mean? So for us, it's
Mm,
anyone under the age of 20, which includes babies. Often the way that we curate, or the way that I curate, sorry, the festival, is that it's divided into different age groups.
mhm,
So you'd have shows maybe for, well, depending on the year, 2-year-olds, 2 to 6, seven
mm.
to nine, 10 to 12, 13 to 15, 16 to 18, and 18 to 20 years of age. And so, yeah, it's a place, the Cradle of Creativity Festival is um, a place where young people and children can watch work and engage in work that is created especially for them.
Young children, amazing, amazing, amazing. And when is the Cradle of Creativity happening? Where is it also happening?
So the idea around the festival is that it is a roving festival. We would
Mhm.
love to host the festival in a new province
Mm,
every couple of years. So in 2023, which was the first festival I curated,
mhm,
we were in Johannesburg, we were in Gauteng at the
mm.
Market Theatre. But for 2026, Cradle of Creativity will be hosted
Mm,
in Kimberley in the Northern Cape, as well as having some performances and
yeah.
workshops and um, other engagements in Joburg. So that is where we'll be next year.
Amazing. So it is 2026. So there is a question, and not really a question, but it was a comment. If we look at the ASSITEJ South Africa Facebook page, and Anonymous is asking, why 2026?
Haha, that is a really good question. 2026. Well, firstly, um, this kind of festival is really big and requires a lot of resources.
Mm,
Um, but also 2026 is a very important year for South Africa. It
mm.
marks the now I have to do my maths. It marks the
I think
50th.
had mentioned the 50th year of 1976.
Yes, I was gonna say 60th. I'm like, mm-mm. It is the 50th anniversary of the Soweto
Mm,
uprising, which, as you know, it was where school children
yeah.
um, stood up for their right to be educated in their own language.
Mm,
Um, and that sort of activism, the consciousness and the just the memory of young people being engaged and taking a hold of their future is
yeah.
something that we want to celebrate and something that we that at ASSITEJ is important to us. And so Cradle of Creativity, the theme for 2026 is jumping over the cloud, thinking
Mm,
about like ways in which young people have decided to test boundaries. Um, and to take um their circumstances into their own hands.
interesting. So in other words, it's more about defiance. Is it defiant? Is it resilience? Are those the kind of images, and not really images, but kind of ideas that people should be, working towards when they're writing their proposals?
I think it So, in on the one hand, it really is about defiance and resilience, but um, I also think of it in a way as testing boundaries. I'm not sure that
Mm,
we always see like the revolutionary power of a 2-year-old, but them in their own ways are also constantly um, testing and pushing boundaries in their own world,
mm.
and that kind of curiosity and willingness to change surroundings and circumstances is what I'm looking for in the proposals for next year.
Amazing. Amazing. I think let us then move into some of the questions. Unfortunately, we won't be able to answer all of your questions as the audience. Remember, we still are talking to Faye Kabali Kagwe. She's the curator of the ASSITEJ Cradle of Creativity happening in 2026 next year. And the deadline is on the 31st of March. Faye, one of the questions from at Bra Socks on the ASSITEJ page is good day. Are you calling for NPOs or private companies? Which one should we be?
We do not discriminate. I do not discriminate. We are looking for people who are making theater. My role as curator is really just looking at um, the artistic product and also realizing that some people are creating work, but for example, don't even have like a company registered and they're working potentially independently or is their first work. And I am looking at those too. So private company, NGO, they will be looked at
Mm.
in the same way.
Awesome stuff. Another question from at Spiwo Mbongo. He's asking, the performance, should the performance be held by 0 to 20-year olds, or should the production cater for audiences between 0 and 20? So I think he's asking more, is the performance done by children on stage, or can it be done
Mm.
by adults for children, for the audience?
I think that there is a healthy mix. I think that's a great question. Initially, when Cradle of Creativity was started, so when we had our first Congress and festival in 2017,
Mhm.
the festival was really focusing on theater professionals
Mm.
making work for children and young people. Um, yeah, that and so that is something that is still very true to what the festival is. It's creating um, work opportunities for professionals who are making work for that particular audience.
Mm.
However, in ASSITEJ's mission, we also speak about work by children for children. So that will also be considered. However, that will not be the majority of the work that is programmed.
Awesome stuff. Another question from at Baledi Nana. She's asking, should the production be dance or physical performance? How long is the production?
Right. It could be either. I think
Mm.
I'm looking at dance, I'm looking at physical performance. I think what is most important is that people are creating the work with a particular audience in mind.
Mm.
Um, and what connects to them. Like we have had dance works um at all of iterations of Cradle of Creativity where there have been dance pieces made for children, and some
Mm.
of them have been work that was for like teenagers. But we have also had works such as The Flying Cow in 2023
Mm.
that was made for younger audiences. I think it was seven and below. We've also had South African dance works such as Nicola Elliott's Fingers and Toes, My Body Knows, which was also created for 2 to 7-year-olds, um, which was a dance work. And then also, as you know, Finch, we've had Chiffonade, um,
Yes.
which is also another dance piece
Mm.
created um, for young children, 2 to 7, I think, as well. And so it doesn't matter if it's dance, it doesn't matter if it's physical theater, the audience is the most important thing.
Amazing stuff. I think maybe a question from my side would be, as much as, we've had so many questions from the audience asking what kind of productions. There's many, many questions, but I think one more important question for you as a curator is, what kind of proposals are you looking for? I think why I'm asking this question is because many audience members will either write one page and half a page or even 10 pages. Is there a specific kind of way that you want the proposals to be done? Um, and I know this is a very layered question. Maybe we need another, another session. But maybe just to simplify, us, what would you be looking for then in our proposals when we are sending it to you?
Well, maybe there are two things that I want to say about this. So, Cradle of Creativity does strive to be, although it is an international festival, when I am looking at work, um, in South Africa, for example, I'm looking to have work from each province. So,
Mm.
work representative from each province. And then I'm also looking for all all the age groups, and if possible, to have like a diversity of language as well. So the selection process is tricky
Mm,
because usually the 16 to 20-year old age group is overly represented in the proposals that I get.
yeah.
And we're not creating a festival that only caters to teenagers.
Mhm, mhm.
So I have to be selective in making sure that we cover a range of ages.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I think that that's something that is important to understand. And also, we are also looking for, I forgot, a diversity in genres. So um, that could be theater, it could be puppetry, it could be object theater, it could be dance. Um, and so making sure that we are showcasing the range of productions that could be created in this particular field. Those are all considerations that I have in terms of how selection takes place. So that's one consideration. When it comes to the actual proposals and what I'm reading through,
Yeah.
um, what is most important is that I can get a sense or feel of what that production is. Um, so if that production has been performed somewhere, it would be great if there were reviews. Sometimes the people don't get press, but if there is feedback from audiences that have been collated um, and put together with the proposal, that helps. If there is photographic material
Mhm.
and even a recording of the performance,
Yeah.
that is helpful because the performance is a medium where you're seeing and you have to experience it. So just having a description doesn't always um translate into what actually happens when you see the production. So having visual representation and documentation of where the work has been performed and what it looks like, um, that is what I'm looking for. And then some people might say, well, what happens if I just have an idea or it's we're currently looking for funding? What can I present? I think present what you have. If you have a sample of the script, present that. If you have been rehearsing or have ideas for movement language, or you have kind of like a mood board of what you're looking for in terms of aesthetics. Um, we do in the form there is space for you to add links, and then the Cradle email address is also there. So I think anything that helps me understand what actually is going to be staged is what you should include in your proposal.
Amazing stuff. You heard it from the curator self. We only have, well, you only have 30, well, a month, maybe two, a month and a half left because the closing date is on the 31st of March. So please get your proposals in. Faye, before we let you go, we just wanted to maybe take a moment and talk a little bit about your trip to New York with the Festival Academy, the International Society for the Performing Arts. What is the International Society for Performing Arts, and what were you up to in New York?
Thank you so much. So, the International Society for the Performing Arts, otherwise known as ISPA, um, it's like us, is also a network of performing artists, cultural institutions, and leaders in the performance field from across the globe.
Mm.
Um, they have a congress every year in New York where they bring the global community together to have talks and to meet each other. I was able to attend through the global fellowship that they have,
Mhm.
where they um, are able to sponsor a few. They're able to sponsor a few um, spaces, a few candidates, and that covers the membership for the year, um, travel to the Congress, and then an opportunity to meet with other global fellows, which I have thought as being um, really, really, really helpful. Um, January in New York is a great time for anyone interested in the arts because um, there is so much happening. So besides ISPA, they also have um, they have a live arts festival. They have the Under the Radar festival. They have Jazz Fest happening. There's also another program called APAP that also happens at the same time. So the city is filled with people who are looking to program work, who are looking to co-produce work, who are looking to just, I guess, see what is out there. What's lovely about ISPA is that you're able to um, meet some pretty, uh, pretty influential people and to hear them talk and for them to share their experiences. So, for example, on the first day of the Congress, we had a provocation by Mariko Silva, who is the president and CEO of the Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. So that was cool. But then we also have different sessions which bring together professionals from all over the world. So, for example, um, on the third day of ISPA, there was one that I was two actually that I was particularly interested in. The one was called Navigating Conflict. Um, the session was called Navigating um, Conflict, and it had Miranda Lagerfeld from the Netherlands. It had an Indigenous American representative, and the moderator was from the US. That was quite interesting. And then one of the other sessions that was had was called Festivals at the Forefront. And I was particularly interested in hearing Dorsey Rugamba speak, who is the artistic director of the Kigali Triennial in Rwanda. Um, yeah, so it's a lovely space to be connected to a broader performing arts community.
And I think definitely we saw your pictures, and we just were just inspired so much on the work that you have been doing. I know you met with so many people, but what was the most memorable, maybe just to close it off, what was the most memorable moment when you were in New York?
Um, my favorite sessions so far, last year and this year, have been the pitch new works. Um, I don't often get the opportunity in South Africa to sit in pitching sessions. So to s- to see people have 10 minutes pitch um pitch for their performing arts work, looking at the kind of documentation that they do for it, hearing from people all over the world. That's hugely inspiring. But what's also great, I think, about the Pitch New Work session is that you also get to see what people are looking for, like um what makes a work able to tour? What are economies of scale? What are the different models that can be used? And my absolute highlight for both pitch new work sessions that I went to last year and this year was that I did see South African representation. So last year, William Kentridge's The Great Yes and The Great No was pitching, and this year in Kodi, the Vogue opera was pitching, and so is Jaya, who is the lyricist for the production, as well as Philip Miller, who did the music. They were there, and it was really great to have South African representation at the Congress and showing what we can and do produce.
Amazing stuff. And we also wish them all the best. Faye, thank you so much for this amazing talk. We really hope, as the audience, that you gained so much from this conversation because Faye is a very busy person. So if you have any more questions, don't forget that you can go on to www.assitej.org.za or even info@assitej.org.za. Faye, we absolutely find you inspirational. Thank you so much for the incredible work you've been doing with the Cradle of Creativity. We look forward to the 2026 festival. Thank you again. And how do we find you on Facebook? How do we find you on Instagram?
Um, you can find me on Facebook with my name, Faye Kabali Kagwe. On Instagram, my handle is at Katiti_K. So that's at KATIITI_K. Um, and if you're looking for specifically questions or concerns or just wanting to chat about Cradle of Creativity, you can email me at cradle at ASSITEJ, that's ASSITEJ.org.za. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Faye. We're looking forward to our next episode with you. We definitely want to discuss your Instagram handle. It'll definitely be the topic of the show. Thank you again, and please have a good rest of the weekend.
Thanks, Finch. Bye.
And that's it for now, and we're gonna see you same time, same place again next week Saturday. It's 8 a.m. That was the morning show with ASSITEJ South Africa.
ASSITEJ South Africa had its biennial festival for children and young people at the Market Theatre from Sunday, August 20th to August 27th. The theme for this year's Cradle of Creativity Festival was The Stories That Move Us.
This year is The Stories That Move Us. So I was, when I came up with the theme, I was really thinking about, like, you know, after COVID and being stuck in our houses, what are the stories that bring us together, that move us outside of our personal space and into community with other people, and that happens in different ways. And then what are the stories that engage us emotionally and intellectually and get us to shift in some ways? So really celebrating the transformative power of stories.